that candidate, the successor of the deceased MP, Ibrahim Murtala Mohammed. Now, in this edition of Hot Issues, we look closely at Professor Alidu Seidu's candidacy, raising important questions about the future of Tamale Central and the place of independent political thought in Ghana's parliament. I am Keminni Amanor, and in this edition, I sit down with the candidate himself. We will discuss his transition from academia to mainstream partisan politics, but more importantly, his future as MP of Tamale Central. My next guest is the NDC's Tamale Central parliamentary candidate, Professor Alidu Mahama Seidu. You're welcome to Hot Issues, Prof.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations on your win at the primary, the NDC primary. Did you gather that you'd win by such a margin?
Actually, yes. One, it has to do with the fact that we campaigned very well. My campaign team was on the ground. We were moving across all the areas in the constituency, and we also had a very good message.
Right.
We campaigned largely on issues, on the continuity of the projects and policies that our late MP started. He was one of the most loved MPs in the constituency because of the works that he did and because of the others that he started. So our message was twofold. One, to continue with his legacy projects and make sure we complete them. And then two, we also implement what we have as a candidate. So largely, I think the message was well received by the delegates. And also because of the emotional attachment that they had with the MP.
Right.
Yeah, anybody who, and also because the MP had a lot of promises he has made to develop the constituency. So campaigning largely on the continuity was a good start that attracted them, but also because of the message that we had. I think they were very happy with the message. And then it was all crowned by the will of God. We always put God first in whatever we were doing.
Right. So that, I mean, that was your first time? First time running in a
yes.
any political party's
This
primary.
is my first time, I understand.
And you still came out with such margins of win, right? And there was no surprise there at all?
Our projection was actually within 800 to, between 800 to 900.
Right.
And conservative estimate, we were even saying 1,000. But I think we still fell within the margin that we had anticipated. It was largely our motivation and assurance was driven largely by the level of interaction that we had with the delegates. We had met them a couple of times. We have moved from the ward level to the branches at the constituency level. And sometimes the way they receive you, even though I know people say we shouldn't trust delegates, but the sincerity with which they responded to our message, the kind of comments they give after the message, and the kind of questions that they ask you actually shows that they were really happy and really pleased and believe that our team had the capacity to be able to deliver what we're promising on. And I always say that every political candidate has a vision, but it's not every political candidate that has the capacity, the resources, and the ability to deploy that vision to a meaningful projects, policies, and programs that can enhance the welfare and the well-being of the people. And that's one thing. But there's also another, convincing the electorates and actually having their buy-in into your capacity to do that. Yeah. So what we did largely as part of the campaign was to demonstrate that what we're saying, we actually committed to doing them. So there were a lot of projects that the former MP started that we continued, even as we were campaigning. So
I see. We did. We'll get into some of those projects, and what your own plan for the constituency is. But let's take with the beginning, of this entire journey for you. What made you decide that Tamale Central is the place to go? You had an appointment as the executive secretary. We've also known you for academia. Then out of the blue, there you are, NDC parliamentary primary. What was the motivation?
The first was the fact that I was born and raised in that constituency, in Salamba, and I have lived with the challenges of the people. So I understand what I went through growing up, going to school, and what our parents went through, raising us, paying fees, and getting us enrolled and going to the highest level. And whenever I go to that constituency, I still see that there's vestiges of some of these things that we went through. So there have been that level of commitment to enhance the welfare and the well-being of the citizenry, largely from the constituency. And I have been doing that even in my own right as a lecturer. I have made a lot of contributions just to make sure that we make change. So the first was driven by largely the motivation to make change at where you grew up, where you started your whole life. The second was largely the relationship that existed between me and then the former member of parliament, the late member of parliament. He did his PhD at the Department of Political Science.
Right.
And I was part of the supervisory committee, myself, Professor Ransford Jampo, and Professor Emmanuel Deborah, who supervises. Actually, Professor Achwayi was the lead supervisor until Professor Achwayi finished his post-retirement contract and said he was tired and he wanted to take a rest. So we reconstituted the committee, and I was part of the committee. So I was very close to him, and he would often discuss some of the proposals and vision that he has for the constituency. And sometimes he always referred to me as his junior brother, and that's true. So sometimes he will ask me for advice or my perspective about some of the policies and visions that he was trying to bring to the constituency. As small as it was, when I tell him, he will listen, and you see that he was making a lot of strides, trying to help the people within Tamale Central constituency. So being privy to some of these vision and often helping him shape them up, I was motivated that this is such great ideas that we should let it just go to waste. So the second motivation was largely to make sure that those visions were continued without being truncated. But lastly, it was just about the beauty of serving your people. If you ask every politician, they said the best part of politics is serving your people. And one of the best ways you can do it is to decentralize your contribution by going to the grassroots level and by listening to their challenges, trying as much as possible to address them as you can. And then those that you're unable to address, you be sincere with them, and then they will understand. So I think these were the three large motivations that made me to go and contest.
So I gleaned that it wasn't a difficult decision for you to make at all.
It wasn't that easy, to be honest with you.
I see.
Going to contest an election within the shortest possible time is something every reasonable person will hesitate a bit. So I think I had to do a lot of thinking through, though within a very limited time, and to do a lot of consultations within that very limited time. And I think largely they all said, I think you are made for it. Once you are able to win, we think you can do better.
Did you get a call to be part of the race? Were you called upon?
Yes.
Okay.
People met me and then sold that idea to me. That when this happened, they've done a lot of search and done a lot of consultations. And then my name kept coming up. So they had to speak to me. So I said, okay, give me some time to think over it, which I did. And I thought I had made the best decision. And I still don't regret it.
Yeah.
And I believe this is the beginning of more things to come in my quest to serve my constituency, my people, and then the state at large, Ghana as a country. Yeah.
When I asked you about the journey to winning the primary and now the possibility of being the Member of Parliament for Tamale Central, you outlined a number of things. Well, when we look at that picture of you with the Education Minister, Haruna Effect, there are many who have come to the conclusion that Haruna was behind your win. How do you react to that?
I think it was the NDC party and not Haruna. But sometimes when you take decisions, someone has to communicate that decision, right? So I think I have done a lot of work at the national level, and I've worked with a lot of the big wigs in the NDC, and then they all know me, and they know how I work. So I think none of them oppose the fact that I should contest because they know my capacity and my ability, even in academia. So they thought that I was a quality material and I can step in the shoes of the late member of parliament. But you see, none of them oppose the fact that I should contest because they know my capacity and my ability, even in academia material. So late, but has taken level to the grassroots level. So it is important that when you are taking a decision like that, you speak to all the power brokers from the national level to the grassroots level. And when I said the consultation, I've done a lot of consultation. I've spoken to a lot of NDC people, even some people who are apolitical, but have expressed interest in my growth as a person. I spoke to all of them. And the general consensus was that it is a very difficult enterprise, but once you are able to succeed, we don't have doubt that you can make a meaningful contribution to our body politic in the country. So the consultation was diverse. It cast across from the national level to the grassroots level. And even when you go to Tamale, it wasn't just the education minister, but there were other prominent MPs and power brokers, former MPs, traditional leaders, religious leaders that I have spoken to and had visited just to speak to them about it. And they were all affirmative that you have our support, we know you, and we believe that you can deliver if you get a note.
When you look at that picture, what does it communicate to you?
That I took a picture with one of the stakeholders.
Have you seen the picture? The picture where we see Haruna. It would seem as if you had bowed a little to him. He put his hand on your back. That is where that notion is coming from. I want to find out from you what was happening in that picture. What does it communicate to you?
So if you know the tradition of the North, that's how we greet.
Right.
Not even people that I have worked with in the University of Ghana, even people that I was senior to, we were taught that when you are greeting an elderly person, you bow. Depending on the level of age and the person's authority in society, you can even go down to your knees. And you've seen it. Even the president has laid down for the Yagbonwura. You've seen those pictures before, haven't you? So it is the established traditional institution in our place. That's why we're all brought up. So it depends on the level of the person's status in society and the age difference. So definitely, if I'm going to get somebody like that who's older than me, I would definitely have to bow. And if you watch most of my campaign pictures, you've seen that sometimes I even go on my knees just to show that element of reverence and respect for the status of the person in society, but also for the age differences. So it's not something new. People may read political communication meanings into it. I agree. People have different perspectives. You can't all agree on the same thing, and that's a bit of democracy. But it is an established tradition that we do from the North. I'm not sure where other cultures are. But you've seen even political leaders, if you go to the Gonja traditional area, for example, when you are greeting the Yogongura, you have to lie down prostrate. It doesn't matter who you are, whether you are MP or president, or if you go to the Ashanti or Tumfo, you have to. So it's reverence for our tradition, customs, and culture. Even colleague lecturers at the University of Ghana that I'm higher than even in rank, when I have to greet them, I kneel down.
I see. So what we see in that picture is you showing respect to a senior colleague,
yes, but
an elder brother, but people have misconstrued that to be Haruna handed you Tamale Central. That's a misread.
I think people interpret a particular event differently.
Okay.
And I wouldn't deny people the kind of interpretation they give to it. And that's the beauty of politics, right? The sincere intention and why I did that is clear in my mind.
Right.
But what other people think about it is for them, not me.
I see. We'll come back and talk about your relationship with the people of Tamale Central. But, you know, while we are on the subject of wins and losses and the possibility, really, now there is a real possibility of you being announced as the MP-elect for Tamale Central, mainly because the other two political parties who had earlier announced their interest in it have also, you know, withdrawn from the race. So essentially, we are waiting for an announcement of you as Tamale Central MP. Did you have a hand in their withdrawal, their last-minute withdrawal from the race?
I don't have a hand in it.
Did your power brokers have a hand in that?
I don't know. No one told me that they have negotiated with somebody or something happened. What I knew was that as the close of the filing yesterday, I filed in the morning. But I didn't even know there were candidates. Then it was later on, I think around 5:ish, when I heard that two more people have filed from the, I think, PNC and then LPG. And I said, okay, fine, let's go for the contest. I'm willing to campaign hard to sell my message, and then we see who eventually wins. So I'm not sure, but you know, the NDC's key competitor in Ghanaian politics, the NPP, had earlier on indicated that they're not going to contest.
That's correct.
Because of the circumstances within which the late Honorable Murtala passed. So I'm not sure what might have motivated these two candidates who earlier filed to pull out. But I've read some of the statement. I think it speaks to the same circumstances, but also personal reasons. So to be honest with you, I don't know what happened. I think it was even this morning that I realized that, you know, I saw the flyer when I wake up around 2 a.m. to work that they had withdrawn. And I said, then I think it is good so that we save a lot of resources for the country. We don't have to run an election which is very obvious who might win. So I think it's a good decision. And I think I applaud them for looking at the circumstances, but also the chances of them winning when we're going to have it. So you can't say in politics there's reasonability. There's no reasonability in politics. But if people are able to reason and then decide that this is a very good decision to take, I think it's worth applauding. Yeah.
You talked earlier about how campaign itself wasn't easy in the primary. Tell me a bit more about your first experience with actual political campaign, not for somebody but for you.
I applaud my members of parliament. I really applaud them, and I respect them even more. Going through what they have been through a little bit. So it's trying to convince people that you are tailor-made for the job. In politics, it's not like coming from academia, we are more scientific, right? You look at all the established facts and then you hold constants, other distractions, and you arrive at a conclusion that is robust. But in politics, there's not that element of reasonability, kind of. So you could be the best candidate, you could have all the knowledge of politics and the resources of politics, and you not win. And we've had instances in my department where professors have contested primaries and they have lost. And judging by the quality of those people who lost against those who won, you see that politics is kind of lopsided in terms of rationality. So you couldn't just have assumed that because you are associate professor of political science, former head of political science, you are going to win. It doesn't go that way. So that meant that you have to put up your best, work with the right team, and that element of a stakeholder approach to see whether you win. And that one alone was scary, right? That with all what you have achieved, you go and then you contest and you lose. Though it doesn't mean anything, it just means that you have to learn lessons and come back again. So that bit of me losing was something that actually gave me sleepless nights. and we had to do everything. The campaign, you didn't have time for it. 12 a.m., 1, you are still on the phone, and you are meeting people, talking to them. To be honest with you, it's a very stressful enterprise, and you lose your voice, you lose weight, you'll not be able to eat. Maybe because it was my first experience, though, but I thank God the way the outcome played out. I just believe that the other contestants also did almost the same as I did. But the ultimate decision lies with the delegates. So at the end of the day, I think they made a very firm decision that they were committed to maybe the policies that I saw to them rather than what my other competitors did.
I see. And you mentioned earlier that you don't regret it, which means that you do this again.
Oh, I think so. I'll do it.
You think you do it. So then we can say that, academia has lost you. Politics has gained.
Academia, is it what you ask? You're a teacher, you're also a teacher. So I'll see how I can strike a balance between the two. Speaking
of balance, when we come back from our break, we'll find out how you are balancing your own ideology. Is it ideology I'm looking for? But perhaps your own plans, your own vision for Tamale Central as against continuing the legacy of your predecessor. This is Hot Issues. Don't go away.
Excitement this Sunday at 8 p.m.
Good evening and welcome to the greatest show on earth. This is a people's game. They will be bubbling about this one for weeks and months to come. Let's go!
It's on SuperSport all season long. Pay your subscription today. Dial *759#. Available on DSTV and GoTV.
Sister, me dad, dear Betsy, Biana, me, I'm Sissimi. I could eat that. Me, many tears, some of them in Sakana, say, you made us with it. Sika, sit down to the moon. Did you see a moon? Baggy the one, yeah. So, what you say bag number? One number to show. Wow. That's a minute one from you, Banana Solio.
Professor Alidu Seidu is my guest here on Hot Issues. Prof, for the people who are not members of the NDC, will not get the chance to know you because there won't necessarily be a campaign period. There will only be an endorsement of the sole candidate at the time of the stipulated election day, right? What kind of an MP will they be getting?
So I think politics is about service. So to the best of my ability, I want to serve the people. And one of the ways I want to do it is to make governance at the grassroots level more participatory. So I think it is through participation that you can learn a lot from the people, what they cherish, their values, their principles, what their challenges are, and even possible recommendation of solutions from them. So you benefit a lot when you run a very open, participatory kind of politics. That is what I wish to do. But also, I think Tamale Central is largely an urban constituency. We have some few peri-urban settlements, but it's largely urban. And definitely, once the election period is over, you don't have NDC member of constituent or MPP member of constituent. I think the function of the MP is largely to represent the interests of your people collectively, which is then aggregated at the national level. And I also understand that there will be a little bit of a contradiction of interest. So the role of the MP is largely to aggregate the individual interests, even no matter how contradictory they are, and move it towards a common platform that can be articulated at the national level. And largely, the other bit has to do with development. In a largely urban constituency like that, most of their roads are tarred. There's still some few that are left. Most of the infrastructure are well developed, though there are still some few that needs to be developed. So I think mostly the key policy objective should be human development.
Right.
Building the capacity of the people within the constituency. There are a lot of people who are far behind in terms of education. So one of my key things is to strengthen access to education at the constituency level by instituting a scholarship scheme, which I'll name after the late minister.
Right.
And then I'm going to call it the Honorable Murtala Mohammed Education Fund. And then we can see how we use that fund to help build the capacity of people who want to go to school, but are being stopped by poverty. The other bit has to do with employment opportunities. There are a lot of the teeming youth who have finished school. Some of them have master's degrees, some of them have first degrees, and they have been home for like 4 or 5 years or more. So what I intend doing is to see how best I can leverage my colleagues and people that I know to see whether we can get them employment. But there are also other people who don't have formal education certificates, but they also have talent and skills. So what we can do is to team up with, I think there's a vocational institution at a town called Dabopa in Tamale, but also the Tamale Technical University, to see how we can build the capacities of these young people, whether it's tie and dye or batik or barbering or whatever it is, sewing, and then see how we can build their capacity and support them with some small capital to set up so that they should be able to earn a living, decent living, and be able to contribute towards the upbringing of their children and family. But also making the constituency work on the ticket of the NDC also means that strengthening the NDC party structures. And we all know that the NDC party is built at the branch level.
Right.
So the branch level is a list unit of organizational structure. And most of the works are done at the branch level. But when it comes to sometimes benefit, they are usually missing in the equation. So what I intend doing is to strengthen the branch level politics by actually, in each branch, I'm going to make sure I get 1 or 2 people, build their capacity, so that they'll be able to earn enough living to support party activities within the branch level. If they are able to do that, it can take off some of the burden on the MP. You don't have to be everywhere, but you can clone people financially, resourcefully, resource them to be able to act on your behalf, kind of a vice regent at the branch level. If you're able to do that across all the branches, what it will mean is that there will be people at the branch level, even when the MP is in Accra or out of town, and there's a need for maybe the party at that level to attend a social event, wedding, naming ceremony, funeral, or even somebody in the constituency needs an agent money in an agent manner, that person can stand in and make the provision, and then later on maybe the MP can reimburse, or may not even reimburse. So I think it's more about structuring and resourcing the branch level.
It sounds like you have a whole plan to put to work.
Yeah, there's a vision that even when you are going to file your application to the EC, you need to attach a vision statement that you have. And I've also done a lot of work around the constituency.
Research work.
Yes, and then some of these issues came up. So basically, I'm just tying in that data to some of the issues that came up when I started doing my first tour of the constituency. I think critical issues came up for my attention. So I just decided to put them together into a kind of vision. But what also happens is that even as you move along in terms of implementation, there may be other problems and challenges that may emerge as you even implement those that you have.
That's correct.
And then you can mainstream them into the plans moving forward. So it's a kind of continuity. It's not just a one-off policy document that you're going to implement. So as you move along, more issues will come out, even as you want to implement them, and then you can integrate them. But the other bit has to do with the policies, the programs, the vision that
your predecessor. Right. So then my question will be, how are you balancing your own vision and that of your predecessor, since you have already announced and made clear that you want to build upon some of the things that Honorable Murtala had started?
So I think most of the vision that he had for the constituency, I was privy to them because I had worked with them in some of them. So I knew them. And then those that he has already started, he discussed some with me, but I was also working with the core team that worked with him. So most of them was brought to my attention. So what I was just doing is just adding a little bit of strategy in terms of implementation to those things that he has already designed. So they are not completely different because he had this vision of youth capacity building. So for example, what he used to do when he was MP was to organize extra classes for JSS students when they were going to write the BEC exams. And that opened up their minds and gave them a lot of instructional ability to write. And the passage rate was very high. So I said, this is a policy I'm going to continue. I'm not going to truncate it. But what I also do is to create similar structures at the secondary school level. So if the secondary school students are going to write SSC, we'll organize similar classes for them to be able to open up the discussion, prime their mind so that they can go in and write. He was also very keen about youth development, and he started a lot of initiatives to get them employment. Not all of them got, some are still, some people's letters are still on the pipeline. So what I intend doing is to do follow-up, which I already did and got some of them out, do a follow-up. Those that are still pending, maybe you see how you push them out. Those that still haven't gotten a job, then you can also take it from there and see how you get them jobs. So the continuity bit is just topping up on the broader visions that he had. So if you go to the constituency, the ward level, some of the branches, he has started road projects, he has started the construction of hospitals, schools, those infrastructure. You can't just leave them like that. You have to make sure if they are secured funding, you continue the project with that secured funding. If it was done from his pocket, then also try and see how you can get resources to be able to continue them.
I mean, I can understand why you will be called upon to contest because you work closely with Honorable Murtala and you know a lot of the things or plans that he had for the people of Tamale Central. Who did you say called you to contest?
It was the party.
The party called you in general. I see. Very well. I want us to look at, while the party may have called you, right, you have not been known to be a front and center a political person. What do you say your relationship with the grassroots NDC in Tamale Central is? How would you describe that?
So I think it's good because I grew up from there. And within my local area, I have done a lot, though not on the ticket of the party, but as a person, helping people who wanted to go to school. Where I grew up, we organized extra classes, and we even formed a club called Association of Students in Salamba. So I was born in Salamba and grew up in Salamba. It's just close to Sakasaka and then Tishugu, in between Sakasaka and Tishugu. So we had set up extra classes that we were teaching. Even when I was at the university level, we still go back home and then we teach them. And then even when I was at the University of Ghana, I still help with issues of admissions, issues of accommodation, and then scholarships. And there were even sometimes you have to fund people's education from your pocket. So, and groups from that area, Northern Students Union, Dagon Students Union, I have been patrons of some of these things. And when they go back there, they say a lot about you and what you have been doing on campus. So, and also my media engagement at the national level has also made me a little bit known around the constituency. So it's not just residing in the constituency all throughout your years, but it's about the meaningful contributions that you have made to the constituency, even if you were staying and teaching in Greater Accra region. So I believe it is the impact of the contributions that you have made to the people from that particular constituency and northern region at large, or even the state at large, is what gets you attracted to the people. Because it's like when you do good things, definitely people talk about it. It's just like when you do bad things. So the perception people have formed about you, about what you do to them when they are in Accra or when you come to Tamale, is something that people haven't forgotten. But the other bit also is that one thing people don't know about me is the fact that I like soccer. And when growing up, I I played competitive football at the coast level and at other levels. And at the center point, you know, the whole of Tamale rallied around a center point where we all play soccer. And I was well known. So I think a lot of people know me with my soccer exploits than even my academic life. So I think I've built a lot of network through the soccer, through the help I've been doing, and through a lot of other things. So it was very easy to connect when you went there. And you won't believe it, you have people like my JSS mates, secondary school mates, people I played football with like 20 years back, all coming out and campaigning for me.
For you?
So yeah, so it was, I was overwhelmed by the level of support that people gave me. People that I never even imagined will still remember me. They all came out. So it's a kind of that social relations that actually enhanced the visibility bit of our campaign. So it's about the quality of impact that you make, not necessarily you staying your life throughout the
So Tamale Central can be rest assured that they have a good MP coming in.
I'll do my best, actually. I know it's a call to duty. And if I wasn't convinced that I was ready for this, I wouldn't have gone in.
You wouldn't have
I'm
gone.
seriously convinced that I'm ready for it, and I'm willing to work with them to be able to enhance their welfare and their well-being. I grew up from that environment, and I know how it is to grow up from an environment like that. So whatever contribution you can make to enhance their lives, to enhance their welfare, to create opportunities for them, I think there's nothing better than serving your people.
I see. Campaigns are also not cheap. And you had such a short time to prepare.
Yeah.
How much did it cost you?
I can't put a figure to it, but I had a lot of support from friends, from colleagues, my lecturer colleagues. No, it was just 2,000, 5,000, those kind of things. Then you put everything together. It wasn't easy, but I think there are a lot of people who believed in me.
Who believed in you?
In Accra here, who did a lot of contributions, who raised money for me to be able to get it done. So it was, but I was also lucky that the period was very short.
Very short.
So you didn't have to drag so that you be exposed financially. So by the time maybe the small monies you've gotten was running out, we had done the primaries.
Then you are even more lucky that there won't be a general campaign constituency-wide against another candidate.
I have prayed severally. So I think God has answered our prayer. So I think I'm happy that there's no competitor candidate. That would have meant that we're going to spend more money and the campaign would have dragged. So I think God work in miraculous ways.
Indeed.
And sometimes in my language, we say that if God breaks your leg, He will teach you how to limp. So sometimes when you get into a contest like this at a very short notice, and you put God forward or behind, so you put God ahead of you, I am sincerely convinced that God will help you if you really believe in Him. Yeah.
And He has.
Yes, I think so.
He has.
He has helped me. Yes.
For how long have you been a member of the NDC?
I think since birth.
Since birth?
Yes. If you come to where I stay and where my parents, people know you. You know, it's just like we live it's a global village. People know the home you are coming from and how your parents have voted, how your home have voted, kind of a thing. So, but that was different from my growing up, my principles about life and my philosophy about life. People who knew me and had followed me on social media space always think of me as a very independent person who speaks to issues, who doesn't align politically. But I do vote, so and I vote every election year. So definitely I have a party that I vote for. But I still don't believe that belonging to a political party should be able to cloud your interest to serve the state at large. So I think all the political parties in Ghana were set up to create opportunities for growth and development of the state. So they contest for political power to use it to develop the state. So I think the important thing has to do with the state. state first, and then all the other interest falls within the subset of the state. So I think people who know me very well know you. So sometimes they even tell you, but we thought you were this, and then you are saying this. Yeah. You know, but sometimes it's the conviction and the principle that the state must reign supreme. And that usually guide what we say when we get opportunities like this.
I see. So then, what do you say to cynics who would call to question, really? They'll say when you were in academia, you were, known as a neutral, and here you are, card-bearing member of the NDC, paying dues. You were paying dues, right?
When I became active member, yes.
So here's why the cynics question is important, that how do we believe that at the time you were telling us you were neutral in analyzing national issues, you were not doing that in favor of the party then in opposition?
I have never said I'm neutral, but it's how I speak to national issues that make people judge me as being neutral.
Right.
So sometimes you won't sit on TV and say, oh, I'm a neutral person. But it's your approach to analyzing national issues that make people judge that, oh, this person is neutral, right? And I think it's all about the state. And we all serve the state. We all serve the state in different capacities.
Absolutely.
So, for example, if I'm a lecturer, my duty is to the state, to develop and grow the state, to do the dissemination of knowledge and research findings, and to do what we call extension services. If you are a journalist, your job is to, yes, it's a profession, you earn a living, but your ultimate objective is to contribute to what? Meaningful democratic development of the state. If you are a laborer or a military officer or a security, we all do that. But sometimes people may swap roles with the same aim of what? Contributing to the development of the state. So if you were not in active politics and doing something else, you were indirectly contributing to what? The development of the state. But once you begin to cross from an academic to basically politics, then you are not directly involved in contributing towards what? The development of the state. And we have seen that if you go to parliament, for example, you see all sorts of people from different backgrounds, academic background, lawyers, you see a whole lot of people. But at the end of the day, they all contribute to the development of what? The state. So I think in all ways, we all do it at a different level. But there may be times that people may switch from the original point of contribution to a different point of contribution. So I think this is just like a transition from the contribution I was making from academia towards the state to now being directly involved in representing my people. And that's also another level of contribution. So I think roles may swap, but the ultimate aim is still to make Ghana the better state that we're all looking forward to have.
So we made the mistake of thinking that you were neutral.
It's not you making a mistake.
Okay.
We are all rational people. We hear people analyze national issues. And sometimes they may tell you that there are certain people, once they open their mouth, you should be able to tell what they're going to say. Right? And there are other people, they look at the issues as it says, and then they come from a very different perspective. So it doesn't matter whether it is NDC or MPP. If what they are doing is right and genuine towards contributing to national development, you acknowledge it. If what they are doing is wrong and to undermine the collective growth of the state, you condemn it. And that is what I have been doing.
Will you be able to do that still, now that you are front and center part of the party? You are going to parliament on the ticket of the party. Will you still be able to do that?
So the work of the MP, one of the work of the MP is the role of representation. And in political science terms, when we talk about representation, we are looking at representation at 3 different levels, right? We are looking at the interests of the state. You are representing the interests of the state. You are representing the interests of your party, on whose ticket you are in parliament, and you are representing the interests of your constituents who have elected you into parliament. So there's a very crafty, thin balance between these 3 levels of representation. And your ability to balance it very well makes you a great statesman. And we've had great statesmen in this country who have been able to balance these 3 levels of representation and have done their work very well. And I do look up to them as my role models. And I'll definitely try as much as possible to balance party interests, national interests, and the interests of my constituency. So largely, you have to do that.
When we come back, we'll put that independent-mindedness to a test. Don't go away.
This Sunday on Hot Issues.
Every political candidate has a vision, but it's not every political candidate that has the capacity, the resources, and the ability to deploy that vision to a meaningful projects, policies, and programs that can enhance the welfare and the well-being of the people.
What made you decide that Tamale Central is the place to go?
So the first was driven by largely the motivation to make change. The second was largely the relationship that existed between me and then the late Member of Parliament.
When we look at that picture of you with the Education Minister, Haruna Effect, there are many who have come to the conclusion that Haruna was behind your win. How do you react to that?
I think people interpret a particular event differently, and I wouldn't deny people the kind of interpretation they give to it. And that's the beauty of politics.
For how long have you been a member of the NDC?
I think since birth.
Hot Issues shows Sundays at 1:30 p.m. only on TV3.
TV3, first in news.
My guest is Professor Alidu Seidu, the NDC's parliamentary candidate for the Tamale Central constituency. He is the sole candidate in that constituency. Now, Prof, thank you so much for your patience. So I said that we'll put that independent-mindedness to the test. Let's talk about the NDC's and the president's, really, first media encounter that took place on Wednesday. Were you impressed by the quality of interaction and responses we got from the president?
Absolutely. You know, governance, especially democratic governance, is more about accountability and transparency, but also responsiveness. So it is interesting. And we know the media is so often described as the fourth estate of the realm. The media plays very critical role in shaping our democratic growth and development. And you ignore them at your own peril. Mm-hmm. So to be able to organize such an encounter with this group of people to discuss national issues, critical national issues of importance, and to allow the media to scrutinize the president's visions and policies towards those issues is one of the best ways you can deepen democracy. So definitely it was a very interactive session. Critical questions were asked and probes were made, and then the president responded to the best of his ability. So I will cherish that practices like that continue, not just with the media, but with other sectors of our democratic stakeholders. And then definitely, I think it opens up a lot of issues that were hidden for discussion. And then it provides the enabling environment for the president to explain his policies, his visions on very critical issues in the country, how they are being implemented, the challenges that time. But because some of them, if you are not part of the government machinery, you may not be privy to some of the things that are done behind the scenes. It is only when they are being implemented, that's when you see them and they begin to critique. But there's always a back door channel to the formulation processes, the challenges, and how those challenges are remapped and redeveloped into what? Progressive implementation processes. So I think it's a very good thing. And I really believe it was very encouraging from the part of the journalists to be very critical. I think they asked all sorts of questions.
Was there something that didn't go well for you that could have been done better?
I can't imagine of anything like that.
You were appointed the executive secretary of the Water Resources Commission.
Yeah.
What are some of the issues that you identified as to why our water bodies are not protected enough? Because that is the job of the commission.
So largely, our work is not just protecting. We are supposed to manage and regulate water resources in the country, but also to design policies that relates to its management, and then regulation. So we do this in different ways. One, through legislations. So there have been a lot of legislations that regulate how water resources are used in the country, including the water use regulation, which is LI 1962 of 2001. That regulates the administration and then the issuance of water permits to people who use water. We also have the drillers license and groundwater development regulation, which is LI 1827, which was designed in 2006 to license companies that drill water and how that should be done. We also have the dam safety regulation, which is LI 2236, which was done in 2016, to ensure that the dams that we have are safely designed, constructed, and then they are maintained very well. What we also do is that we also coordinate with other stakeholders in the water industry to see how best we can protect the quality of water that we have. And what we do is that we have what we call the WQI, the Water Quality Index. And the Water Quality Index, actually, we produce it every year to measure the level of quality of water in our water bodies, both, especially mostly the surface water. So largely, it's a stakeholder-based approach. But also what we do is that when we issue licenses and permits to organizations that use water, either for industrial purposes or for domestic use, and they fail to abide by the terms and conditions within which the license comes, we can take several actions. So we could call them for consultation, we could remand them, we could fine them, and we could even revoke the license. But you know, the whole issue of Galamsey has actually contributed to reducing the quality of water that we have. And I've done a lot of field visits. And when you go, Ghana Water Company is one of our key stakeholders. When you go to most of the points that they extract water and treat them for domestic consumption, you tend to see that the level at which the waters are being polluted from both illegal mining, but also even domestic use, people dump rubbish into the water and do all sort of things. It makes it very difficult for the Ghana Water Company to be able to process the water at the cost that they used to do, to be able to provide for the people who use them. So largely, I think what we have to do moving forward, there should be more stakeholder-based consultation, because I think we are a lot of companies that work within the water sector, but also the protection of the environment. But I also think that it's not just more about the laws, but it's about enforcing those laws that we have. And some of the enforcement has to be supported by a lot of force, because if Ghana Water Company, there's a case that we investigate, a case about maybe river diversion or water pollution. So we send in a team there to investigate, and then we find that it's actually true. Largely, what we're supposed to do, sometimes even monitoring those things poses a lot of danger to the staff of the commission. You can't just move in there and say, stop illegal mining. We don't have the power to do that, unless maybe there's a support from the security agencies to be able to do that. So that's one of our challenges that we face. But the other bit has to do with the quality of, not the quality, the number of personnel that we have, the expert personnel. The commission, we lack a lot of personnel. Sometimes because of the level of condition of service that we have, we usually lose the best experts to more competitive companies. So the numbers are low, but the condition of service are also not that encouraging. So people tend to move to other sister companies that work in the water area than stay with us. But all in all, I think the vision of His Excellency, the President, and then the Minister of Natural Resources, and then Works and Housing, there's a lot of initiatives and interventions that are being made to be able to make sure that we have a very clean water, and then we also take measures to address some of the challenges that we have identified over time, to make sure that things are done at the right time, at the right way. So mostly we do site inspections, sometimes even unexpected, and we also report on the state of activities that are being done around our water bodies. We also do compliance monitoring to see that companies that we have issued permits to are actually working within the remit of the law. And then also what we do is that we also do regular assessment of the water bodies to measure their quality and see whether they are actually right for citizens to consume. And then what we also do, we also protect the river banks from human activities, mostly by planting seedlings and then growing them and then creating a lot of buffer zone for human activity that is very close to the water. So at the level of the commission, we are doing our best, notwithstanding the challenges that we face. And I still believe that it will take more stakeholder-based approach to be able to deal with this. Because if you look at some of the responsibilities that we are supposed to carry out, a lot of other agencies within the water sector share some of those responsibilities. So there should be that element of coordination and harmonization of rules so that we can all know that this is what clearly I'm supposed to do. And where there are gray areas, we see how we can map up those gray areas to enhance the protection of water resource. Because water is life. And once we make a big mistake about it, we may regret it.
It is indeed. And Prof, that's all we have time for. We'll end our conversation here. Thank you so much for sitting with us here on Hot Issues. And congratulations once again.
Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. And I'd like to say hello to my constituents, Tamale Central, and for believing in me. I pray that, inshallah, with the help of God, we'll definitely make it up to you in terms of the promises that we have made.
Very well. Congratulations once again.
Thank you.
Professor
Thank you
Alidu Seidu is the NDC's parliamentary candidate, sole candidate in the Tamale Central by-election. We'll bring you development around that by-election here on TV3. But that's all we have for you this edition of Hot Issues. I'm Keminni Amanor. Bye-bye.